Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our regular council meeting of August 29th. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. With the adoption of the agenda, is there any additions to the agenda?
Madam Mayor, administration has no additions.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Could I have a mover? Deputy Mayor, all in favor? Carried. Is Mr. McMahon online? Okay, I guess we will skip him and go on to the approval of the minutes. Is there any errors? If not, could I have someone move them, please?
So done.
Councillor Anderson, all in favor? Carried. Moving right along on to my report. So on August 16th, I had a meeting with Brock Mulligan he's the Vice President of Alberta Forest Products, which is a non-profit society. We just had a casual meeting discussing our relationship with TOCO, now that TOCO is a new member, or a member again. And he asked us if there's anything in particular that the association could help us with, and I asked for 16 million, but I don't think they have it. The Airport Task Force voted to put the items from the airport kitchen to their silent auction. 90% of the painting is complete with a 10% holdback for deficiencies that will be fixed once the flooring is in. The committee elected to buy a blue topaz as the flooring color. The quote to strip and replace is $88,000, I believe, around there.
That's the flooring, Madam Mayor, and the strip and replace was just over 20.
Okay. I did have that, and then I thought, well, maybe they were together.
Yep.
So the procedure to do that takes about 2 weeks, and that will begin sometime
September 26th.
September 26th.
So the airport will be using different areas for public transit. We'll have the main terminal shut down, Madam Mayor.
The main terminal, if you did not hear, Director Schraub will be shut down at the airport for a period of 2 weeks while it's under construction, and we will be using, is that the old part of the airport?
Yes.
Yeah, so the main terminal will be shut down and we'll be using the old part for departures and arrivals. On August 22nd, I met with to discuss their police model. I believe Councillor Anderson was online, were you?
No, I couldn't get on.
Oh, okay.
I was online.
Oh, you were online, Josh. One of their ideas is to boost the number of police officers in rural detachments up to at least 10 and decentralize all the special units out of the big cities. When I stated that when at full capacity, we had 14 officers, 3 corporals, a sergeant and a staff sergeant. He said that could change up to 30. I know there's a lot of skeptics.
30.
That's what he said. Don't shoot me on the messenger. There's no audio.
No, we're working on it, Madam Mayor.
Working on it.
So I asked how they would attract officers. I slipped in our evacuation multi-purpose center because I said that a lot of the RCMP, like the amenities of the cities, like the running tracks, gyms, etc. And he said they would go where they were posted. Even when I asked how much it would cost us, he said that there had been no more than the RCMP model, and I said, could you promise that? And he said he's having a tough time convincing municipalities what would it take. And I said probably an MOU signed in blood before we would trust that that's how many officers and stuff we would get up here. I said our council felt that a lot of our calls are mental health calls and addiction issues, and how would he work with, or how would this police force work with AHS, because we're still waiting for one RPAC team. And he said they didn't have to work with AHS. If it was a private provincial police force, they could work with any agencies. So he suggested but did not commit to the fact that High Level could be a service hub. There's 3 different regional service and community detachments, because they're not that far along. I asked about the regional hubs and whether Edmonton was going to be considered north, and he said it could even be possibly, I asked if it would be Grand Prairie, and he said there are some bigger areas that are looking at getting their own police forces. So if that were the case, it could even come as far north as Peace River. So I guess that means, like, if all the cities get their own police forces, like Calgary and Edmonton, Grand Prairie and Red Deer and whomever else has them, maybe there will be money to put all this into effect. He seems to feel that we're going to be paying for 100% of policing because the federal government wants out of the liability and out of the contracting. And I asked him where in writing that is. I said if somebody would come out and say, look, in 2030, we're not going to pay for police in Alberta, maybe AUMA and RMA would be more amicable to changing. And yeah, so that was kind of what that meeting went, and I asked Clark to see if there was any documentation that the feds actually did this.
Yeah, we've got some people working on digging that out. Most people we talk to are aware of that communication, but we'll see if we can.
How come we're not?
Minister Madu also mentioned that in his meeting, but I don't know whether, I would have thought either FCM or AUMA would have shared that information.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen anything of you, Boyd, and I didn't trust anything Madu said anyway, so. I need to trust but verify. Like it could mean the difference between a council kind of leaning that way if they know we're gonna have to pay for it anyways. And finally, the Denny Assembly, the Welcome Back Gathering, members of council and administration attended the signing of the friendship agreement, which was held the second day. The town of High Level and the Denny members worked on this monumental agreement, which brought the water line to Bushy, a joint emergency plan in the progress, as well as an evacuation multi-purpose center. It was a fantastic day. I watched the young members of the Dene learning how to drum. They've been doing it two weeks. They don't speak Dene, but they learned how to do a prayer and a hand game song, so that was really interesting. And of course I watched the hand games, which were very exciting. It just, with all the drumming and the players, it was very, very well attended and very nice. I had been asked to stay for the tea dance, but it was past my, no, I had prior commitments. All in all, it was a really fantastic day, and I'd like to thank all of you who were able to attend on such a short notice. And that's my report. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. Could I have someone move it then, please? Councillor Lambert, all in favor? Carried.
Madam Mayor, just for council's information, Mr. McMahon is online, but everybody's still, we don't seem to have outgoing audio right now.
Well, he's gonna have to sit in the corner till we're done. We're on a roll now. Okay, council reports. Deputy Mayor.
August 11th, I attended McKinsey Regional Waste Management Committee meeting. It was for the presentation of the financial and audit finding report. There had been some last minute changes that came in. So we had set a second meeting date of August the 24th, which is when the final report was presented and accepted. We'll be discussing that later. And then on the 27th, I was at the Friendship Signing meeting.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Anderson.
On August 25th, I attended the High Level Transportation Society meeting. All is going well. They're still looking for drivers. Their AGM is the end of September. And they are also looking for more members to kind of step up and attend the meetings and get some new blood into the society. But all in all, things are going good. The bus is being used lots. But we're down to one driver. So. And that's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. Councillor, well, I guess Councillor Jessamine can't hear us, eh?
I'm being told that the Facebook audio is working, the Zoom is not. So anybody watching through Facebook can hear us. The people on the Zoom link cannot. Just hang on, Charles, do you want to throw me the audio line? And we'll just dial it on the phone.
We're gonna put it on the phone.
Right in front of you, yeah. So yeah, Facebook is picking us up. For some reason, Zoom isn't. Which means the microphones are working. For some reason, Zoom is not.
Well, I'm gonna move along because I'm not waiting. Councillor Lambert.
On August 4th, I attended the Chamber of Commerce meeting. Kind of discussed what we were going to plan for the upcoming events, like the employment thing they had at the arena. What was it called again? The workshop? Or no, sorry, it wasn't at the arena, it was here at Town Hall.
The employability.
The employability, yeah, that one. So we kind of discussed what we're going to do there, and then also set up for what we have planned for the upcoming one in September as well. We had a couple more board members sign on, so I think we're getting pretty full there now, which is good. A lot more action. Everyone's participating, which is really good compared to the last 2 years. And then on August 22nd, I also attended the meeting with Minister Shandro in regards to the Alberta Provincial Police Force. And then on August 27th, I also attended the Denida Friendship Agreement signing, which was also a very, very nice event, and glad they invited us.
Yes, it was. Councillor Welke.
Only 2 meetings with the FASD Society on August 17th and the 23rd. The 17th was a special meeting regarding the new building, and the 23rd was a regular board meeting.
Nothing.
Nothing to report. Well, the new building is in place. The utilities are not hooked up yet. We're just going through some quotes and just kind of arranging power, heat and plumbing. A bit of construction work has been done to connect the 2 buildings. One of the probably biggest concerns is how we have to deal with the fire alarm system, whether or not it has to be tied in with the existing facility, or if it can be standalone. And the buildings are quite close together, they're about 8 feet apart. There's a wooden deck system built in between them with stairwells, and we skirted in the building. The original skirting that was supposed to come with the building was stolen, so we had to get new skirting, just basically doing everything we can do to make it safe. And then we'll look at doing a bit of work to make it usable and start planning on what's going to go on inside. But we're also waiting for some grants, some applications for grants, before moving forward with a lot of expensive upgrades to it.
So the skirting was stolen after you took it off?
Yeah, it was stolen like from the old Bare Necessities. We're in the parking lot area of the school. There, like the decking and the skirting was all taken off, and some of it walked away. Yeah.
Yeah, we had that same thing happen from the Learning Store.
I mean, it's pressure treated plywood, so there's a lot of value to that right now. So, which is what we replaced it with again. But,
That's unfortunate.
as for the use of the building, we haven't come up with the types of programming or types of uses that will happen inside of it yet.
Okay,
They'll be throughout the fall. That's all I have.
all right. Thank you. Could I have someone move council report?
Councilor Jessamine.
Oh, can he hear us now?
Just working on
I can hear you, can you hear me?
it. There we go.
Barely.
Okay.
You can turn it off, it's fine.
It's just the little top of the square there.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Loud and clear.
Perfect, thank you.
could you give us your report if you have one?
Good evening, everyone. I have the airport beautification evening, the date skipped here. What night was that, Mayor?
The 16th, I believe.
Yes, that is all I have to report for this month. The 16th was the airport beautification meeting that we held out at the airport. For my report.
Okay, thank you. Could I have someone move council reports, please?
I'll move.
Councillor Lambert, all in favor? Carried. Council's action list, is there any questions?
Do we want to go back to Mr. McMahon?
No. Can he hear us now?
Yes, he just sent me a smiley face. He heard you.
I have a question for the action list.
Okay, go ahead.
Have we received our money from the county yet?
No, we haven't, not yet. They have received their invoices. I did get confirmation from their director of finance today, so I'm assuming the money will be coming soon, but we have not received the remaining funds for 2021 or 2022.
They're gonna pay us 2.5% interest?
Well, we'll see. It's supposed to be after July 31st of 30 days, so I will definitely follow up with her, but I did get an email back this morning from them, so.
Any other questions? Yes?
An update on the cellular broadband, and also a comment. Maybe I'll just give my comment first. I heard of 2 professionals who decided not to come to High Level because the internet was not good enough for the one spouse to conduct she's an online teacher, and the internet was not good enough in High Level for her to perform that job, so they did not move here. So just yet another example of how this is affecting our growth and moving forward. And then maybe from, have we heard anything new at all on any of this?
No, the list was submitted, the province's choice on that joint funding was submitted in May, and the feds, as far as we are aware, have not responded or picked any projects.
So we're waiting on a company to be chosen to receive that federal funding?
Yes.
Yeah.
We haven't even been chosen, so.
No.
We're waiting for the federal government to allocate it the grant that it promised back in February.
So who knows? Have we contacted that department or?
Service Alberta, the last conversation we had with Service Alberta, they are still waiting for the federal government to choose projects.
And I have heard that,
Tell her we have Starlink.
yeah, I keep accidentally calling it Skynet. But yeah, I've heard that that's actually quite good. It's expensive.
Not a single problem, yeah.
I guess it always begs the question on, will it scale, and will it be stable enough for commercial use?
Stable in which way?
Well, I mean, if you have fluctuating levels of bandwidth, certain commercial aspects could, they need a steady bandwidth. I think it's just residential or non-commercial customers that are experiencing and buying into that. You have it just
Just
privately.
at home, yeah.
Yeah,
You can, I believe, purchase a commercial option though.
right.
There are lots of people that have it residentially,
Mhm.
And
like
locally.
over 280,
In
the
our,
last count that I had asked.
in our municipality.
When they deliver my pieces one by one.
Oh, you're signing up?
I have it.
Yeah.
It's all there. I'm just waiting for Josh.
To come.
I need
Turn the on button on.
It's like-
But
I don't
yeah.
know, I don't know if that technology is just gonna surpass any of this wired and,
Well, that's kind of my, like I know a ton of people in the rural areas are getting it because, like, towns like ours in rural areas, because they can't wait for us to, not us, but to not get broadband.
and if enough people sign on to these other alternative services, does that hinder then our ability, to moving forward with, a wired system? If the potential customer count has just drastically been reduced, then where are we at with it?
That'll be the decision of the successful proponent of the UBF fund whenever that is announced.
Yeah.
If they're willing. There's a lot of small companies right now that are scrambling, trying to give other alternatives, but none of them have the speeds or the data that either fiber to home or Starlink is able to provide.
Any other questions on council action?
I have one question, just an update on our infrastructure, our road projects we were supposed to have for the summer.
Oh, they're
Are they in a closed session?
They're in the closed session.
Okay.
Not that we're being secretive, but there is.
No, I just wasn't-
Yeah, there's numbers attached.
That's all I have.
Okay. Could I have someone move to accept the council's action list?
I can do that.
Councillor Welke, all in favor? Carried. Okay, we will skip back to number 5 and ask Mr. McMahon, Superintendent of Fort Vermilion School Divisions, to join us.
Can you hear me, Madam Mayor?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, Ruth and Clark and I have been working, and of course, you and I have talked about this in terms of user agreement between the school division and the town. And it's definitely an old format where we get lots of things for free, and you guys get to use our buildings for free, but you rarely use them. I think the biggest thing for us is that we're coming out of COVID. Our goal is to get kids active as much as we can, try and get them off the gaming and actually get them physically active through an academy. And the first sport, of course, we're looking at is hockey, both in high level and the creeks in both of those communities. And if you look at the agreement, we would like council to look at the amendment of an agreement where we would still receive the ice for free, but the school division would pay for any use of the pool, doesn't matter who uses it, because I'm a firm believer that the pool costs money every time that door is open, whether it's a lifeguard or oil from skins, and it's a money pit, we know that, but recreation's expensive, and it's important that we contribute to that rather than getting any hours free there. And in turn, we would also, if there's any students or any youth activities that Jenna or the town does organize, that in the evenings, they would also get that for free. So I think right now, there's a little bit of a hodgepodge where we potentially would pay more because we're out of the agreement, and the town pays us for some things, and we would also then stop the town office mornings and afternoons and pick up groovy kids too at no cost, so that I think it's, when it comes to kids, for me and my chair in terms of superintendent, we have to get them back active as much as we can and get them with a purpose, so that we can start to deal with some of the major mental health issues that we have kind of come through in the last 2.5 years, from not just COVID, but fires and floods and all of those pieces. I think Mr. McCaskill and Ms. Ralph have a copy of that. I'm not too sure if they shared it with you or not, but it's sort of just an amendment for council to think about.
So, I don't get, like, yeah, I know our pool is a money pit, but so is our arena. So where is the equity in that? Like, I don't get, how many hours do you need? Like, I haven't seen any agreement, so I don't know what we're talking.
Did you want me to brief on what our current agreement is? And
Well, I know what our current one is,
So
but the
currently,
amendment.
I lost you.
our agreement is for 250 hours right now, which is a combination of pool, arena, and sports field. The pools generally are about 135 hours, and arena about 75 hours, about 40 hours for sports field. The town receives no revenue for that, and we can use the schools for like adult sport or any of our programming or whatever. We generally use about 60 hours a year. It equates to about $3,000, and the school is getting about 21,000 right now. They're asking for an additional 250 hours of ice time, but looking at paying for the pool, which would be about 13,000, so it would still put us in a place of revenue. We'd still be receiving revenue, whereas we hadn't before. So that's kind of in a nutshell.
Okay, so that makes a big difference, just knowing,
Mhm.
like I just thought you wanted to use the arena for free for X amount of hours. We didn't see the agreements or the amendments, so.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, so they're willing to pay for everything. What he's asking for is, at least for the current school year, starting this week, is that they be granted the ice time during school hours. So any ice time they use outside of school hours, which is minimal, they would pay for, but for the hockey academy, that they be granted that time for free.
But they will pay for the pool.
Pay for the pool, the sports fields,
But have we ever charged for the sports fields?
we haven't charged for anything because the agreement was reciprocal.
Oh, I wish I would have seen, like, it's hard for me to visualize all this. Is there anything else the rest of council would like to ask? Yes,
So right now, the agreement for the arena is
Just a
75
point of
hours.
clarification.
yes, go ahead, Mike. Did he cut out?
Just a point of clarification, with the, now, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Not now? Yeah.
Just a point of clarification, the reason we're asking for, we're not charging kids to go into the academy. I think it's a different model too. If we were charging kids to go into the academy, then of course we would be passing the cost of that onto the town too as well.
Okay, so the academy, is this just for some kids or all kids or?
No, it's wide open. You're gonna have kids that are probably on the elite side, but you're also kids that have never played the game before. And the goal is to actually get more things in the academy. It won't just be sports, there'll be the arts and those sort of things. We're just starting with hockey because we have Neon, and so that's why we're starting there. But we're looking at art and drama and all those pieces so that we can build an extracurricular sort of vision with expertise from each area rather than be just a specific teacher that likes to code or something.
So the academy is essentially extracurricular then?
I wouldn't call it extracurricular. I would call it, because it's going to happen during the school day and of course replace some of the phys ed classes, I would call it much more focused in terms of understanding kids' passion. Another area that the academy will focus on is coding, around that in terms of robotics and coding, because there's a lot of trades in the area that don't have the expertise for kids, or for somebody to come into that job and know how to program an app in terms of running the mill, for example.
Okay, so Mike, this hockey academy, what ages is it for?
What age is it? It'll go right down probably to grade 4, right to grade 12, so.
Grade 4 to grade 12?
Yeah,
Okay, Deputy Mayor has a question.
and currently, right now, if you look at the total cost, sure.
Okay, go ahead.
So right now, they're getting Arena or have been using Arena 75 hours a year, and that's increasing to 250 hours a year?
That's an additional, because there may still be, the superintendent can correct me, but there may still be some usage outside of the hockey academy.
And do we have staff on during that time, or is this a cost to the town?
We would need to have staff on whenever it was scheduled, but part of the agreement would be that they would have to have scheduled license, not just arbitrarily come in there. So my understanding would be, for the most part, like 4 to 5 hours twice a week. We would know which days it is. So those could be the days that we have staff coming in already and doing like ice maintenance and being there to check on things, so.
And what's the cost to the town to run the arena? Or to have staff there, right? We're paying utilities anyway, but to have additional staff there.
Well, they would be there anyways, because they're there during the day.
She said it would be additional staff.
Well, I think as long as they were sticking to the 2 days a week, we would have like staff there, so we would be all right. They would have to be cleaning the ice and doing other things they would normally be doing, so there'd be some cost.
But we would be getting revenue from the pool
Yes, that's correct, which we weren't normally getting before.
up to, how much did you say?
Well, if they're using, based on 135 hours, it's about 13,000. The ice is $97.50 an hour, so.
All
The
right.
ice, I said the pool, I mean, pardon me, meant the aquatic, the pool.
Yes, Councillor Lambert.
Do we have enough, like, is there enough ice time available in the evenings for that? To accommodate with minor hockey and every other?
Right now, like from the last several years, there hasn't been ice usage during the day. This is only during the day before 2:30.
Oh, it sounded like
And
it
the
was
only other
after.
ice usage we have in the morning would be, we have some teams that come in like at 6:37, but they're done by 9 o'clock. So if it's between those hours, we have that ice open.
Yeah, I was just asking, because it sounded like he said that it was potentially after hours, after school as well.
No, there would be no.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. McMahon. Sorry about the tricky audio,
Yeah, thanks for
video.
considering it right now. I think that it's totally okay. Sometimes we have to go back to the phone. Yeah.
Yeah. Or face-to-face always works. Lost.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I feel like.
Bye.
Bye. I feel like I'm talking on a CB.
Second delay.
Okay, so skipping ahead to delegation business number 7.1. I guess we've basically had our discussion.
So Madam Mayor, because the fees bylaw sets the rates for the arena, for the recreational facilities, only council can waive a rate or set an alternate rate.
It would have been really nice to have a report on what was actually happening.
My apologies for that. This happened on Friday afternoon, and the MOU ended up including busing time and a bunch of other stuff, and it doesn't deal just with recreation. So we wanted to have Mr. McMahon make his presentation to see where council wanted to sit on that, then we'll draft an MOU based on your decision. So we can bring this back on the 7th, where we're talking a few days.
So it doesn't, this is not of the essence to make a decision right now?
No, because we won't be billing right away anyway. But if council's okay with waiving that daytime rate in the arena, we can draft a new agreement with the school division based on that, based on them paying for the other facilities and waiving that rate. And
Could we have a written report though,
Yeah,
like
what I'm
with
saying, Madam
all
Mayor.
the fees and everything included?
yeah, absolutely. If you want us to bring that forward on the 12th.
Yeah, and what is happening, like a lot of us were not on the understanding that this was gonna go during the day. I thought it would be something that, because my nephew attended a hockey academy in Edmonton and it was all day, every day. So I mean, that's what I was on the understanding, so I would really appreciate if we could table this to
The 12th.
the 12th, if that does not affect, like, I don't have a problem with it, I just want to make sure
Yeah,
that,
we can put it all together and the cost implications of charging and not charging, yeah, how that would look in comparison to the current situation.
Councillor Welke?
But any type of usage required could go forward if they need, or do they need to start like as soon as school's
The
in?
ice not in yet.
Yeah, yes, should be going in this week.
We're just putting it in, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do we have a sample?
It's supposed to come next week.
So if that's
Well, we'll,
okay,
is it
Mr.
just-
McMahon, are you still on the line?
I think he left.
Give them 5 seconds.
Madam Mayor, it's Heidi. My demand's actually hung up.
Okay, so, yeah,
Yeah, we'll put something together for the 12th.
if the rest of council feels that's something,
We didn't want to put something together if council was completely opposed to this at all, because then we'd just go with the current agreement.
I heard Mr. McMahon mention something about busing of students in the mornings and after school.
groovy kids.
For groovy kids in this agreement as well. So how does that fit in and what's the cost there?
So that's one of the reasons we want to separate that. That's not a usage agreement. What Mr. McMahon has proposed is it would be about $9,000 a year for the busing. So it's before and after school program. They're talking about waiving that cost. So we can put it in, but it wouldn't be part of the MOU. The MOU deals with recreation facilities.
But the busing's a cost that would be incurred by parents and not by the town, correct?
It's part of the program who incurs the cost, right? So that it is an extended program, but that was being passed on to the parents, yes.
$9,000?
Believe that was your estimate?
If we had full usage, yes, if we had 30 children that were being bused before and after for every month of the school year, yes.
Is that going to run this year as well?
Yep, and we're
Okay.
set up to start whenever school starts, next week or whatever, but it's ready to go.
Okay.
Yep, we've got all the parents signed up and forms filled and, yep.
Yes.
Sorry, and the busing's 9,000 a month or 9,000 for the school year?
For the school year, if we had 30 children taking it before and after. So we're not quite at that right now.
What are you at, 22?
But they're not all before and after.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. and there's different rates.
Yeah. Okay,
So that savings then would get passed on to the parents?
Right, which wouldn't
Which
actually
would be-
offset the general user agreement, so we weren't looking at.
Yeah, I'm just, if they're willing to waive it, would it be passed on to the parents or are we still gonna have to charge them for busing fees?
We'd have to bring that back to council because that was part of the increased rates in the rate bylaw that council already passed. So we already integrated that busing fee within the rate. So we'd have to bring that back to council if they wish to have the revenue from the school.
but that's not part of our service agreement, right?
No,
Our
this is-
service agreement
these are
was
two
for
separate-
recreation.
Those are two separate
Yeah.
things, so it's a bit convoluted
Yeah.
presented that way.
All right, so we'll await that for the 12th. A decision, so do we just table it to the 12th?
Defer to.
Can someone make that motion, please?
I can.
Counselor Welke, all in favor? Carried. Capital project. Is there any questions?
I have a question.
Counselor Anderson?
For Mr. Straub. Where are we at on our sandy dump? And is that it, well, where are we now on our sandy dump?
Thank you, Councilor Anderson. So the sandy dump is, the earthworks is complete and the site work is ready for pavement. We've put the building on site. We should have it connected up to the remaining utilities within the next 2 weeks. So all we're waiting for now, the big holdup, is the paving program that we funded at the last council meeting. So that's gonna coordinate roughly the second and the third week of September when our other paving projects start. So once it's paved, we'll be open and functioning, and we're just waiting for the pavement to come in. And looks good so far.
Yes.
Any other questions? Could I have someone move the project report?
I'll move project report.
Counselor Anderson, all in favor? Carried. The events listing, how did the carnival go?
From what we've heard, it was really busy. Good weather.
Good weather? No,
Lots of kids.
was there any added policing costs?
So they did put on extra officers, the RCP did. We shifted the CPOs through the weekend. My understanding is that the incidents were minimal. There was the odd individual who got a little unruly, or probably shouldn't have been at the carnival anyway. But other than that, yeah, RCP seemed to think it went well, and our CPOs seemed to think it went well.
Good. Did you have a question? No. Could I have someone move the events listing if there's no more questions? Counselor Anderson, all in favor? Sorry, Lambert. I gotta get back in the groove. So the Q2 budget versus the actual?
Madam Mayor, Director Phillips has a little bit to add to that, because we've had some problems with our payroll coming over into the financial report.
Good, because I was a bit confused.
12% of salaries and wages.
Yes.
It doesn't pay anybody.
So, when I was pulling in our Questica reporting in from Diamond, it wasn't including, probably about 30% of what our salaries and wages were. So I went through, our actual, Diamond software, just because we did an upgrade in the last month. And Questica wasn't really pulling those numbers in. So our salaries and wages is at about 35-36%, so we are still on point. I went through everything. The only one that was the only discrepancy I found with our Questica is our budgeting program that brings in our budget versus our actual reporting. But if there is any other questions, I'm open to that.
Where is the WUI funding grant going to?
So that'll go into the provincial grants and revenues, but we usually only transfer that at year end, so
Oh, okay.
we don't transfer that, throughout the year.
Yes.
How did we collect an extra $600,000 in taxes?
Oh, for the, that includes our uncategorized revenue as well. So it's not only, just our taxes, we include, our uncategorized revenue within that object code line item.
Okay, it wouldn't be an other revenue?
No, the way that our programming is set up, it's included with our taxes, yeah.
Thought that would have been cool if people would have just paid us
Right.
extra.
Any other questions? Could I have someone move the deputy mayor? All in favor? Carried. Briefing note under 12.1 animal control.
Director Gavin will do that.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yep, we can hear you well.
Well, that is good. I put a briefing note together for tonight. So back in June, the CIO did bring a different briefing note with a few questions for council. Since then, we took council feedback that night, and we have developed a first draft of a bylaw. I have not presented that tonight, because I didn't want to add to any confusion because it gets a bit messy. So I didn't want to bring that forward yet. So what I did do instead was just put together a few of the proposed these are really the bigger changes that are being put forward. And our goal really tonight is just to get any feedback from council, if there's any initial glaring areas or anything that council is not in favour of. And then on September 7th, we will put together a short survey and a few of these points a bit more legible than this and really simplify it a lot more and have a discussion with the public and get some feedback prior to finalising our draft and bringing that back to council on September 12th. So some of the bigger changes, essentially we have 2 animal bylaws right now. If we were to adopt the new one in the next month or so, we would be recommending that both of them are repealed. We're definitely doing a lot of changes to the language. So from the previous council meeting, it was a bit more focused on language around animals rather than just dogs. This can create a few issues. Previous community peace officers did have authority under Provincial Act to seize any animal really if it required, if it was being neglected or subject to cruelty. Of course, the Alberta SPCA as well responded in Northern Alberta to a peace officer based in and around the Peace River area. We don't currently have a peace officer that can, act under these authorities, at least not yet anyway. Of course, additional training is required there before that changes. With an introduction for agricultural animals and then a permit to go along with those. We currently have poultry permits and neighbourhood notifications, so those would be no longer in place. And the only animal that would be permitted in a residential area would be chickens, but we wouldn't be doing the neighbourhood notification. So that's another pretty big change.
Do you know,
dogs as well.
Haley, do you know how many licenses or permits we have for having chickens? in town?
Off the top of my head, I think they have one or two, but right now, I don't believe any of them are active as far as I know.
Okay, well, somebody has chickens, because there's a rooster crowing west of my place.
So no one with a permit for chickens actively has chickens currently.
Okay, so, well, somebody over there does.
There's no roosters.
Okay, well, we
I know there's no roosters, that's why I'm saying, like, every morning at 5 o'clock it was crowing throughout the summer. I haven't heard it lately because I'm up before then.
It's getting later and later.
I was gonna phone Clark, but he says I always complain, so.
Yeah, well, my phone was off at that time.
Yeah, I mean, some of the other changes, we have special event permits as well under the new business license bylaw, so that was something else that was brought forward as well. And then breeding as well, and then a potential reduction.
Sandra, we can hear you.
I think she's trying to tell you there's an echo.
There's an echo where?
Find the best way to listen.
Where's the, like, is there an echo in the council chambers?
No, I was finding, when I was trying to listen to it on the speaker, there was an echo on the speaker, so I turned the speaker off, and I'm just listening through the phone.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyway, I didn't want to take up too much of council's time tonight, but these are some of the major changes that we're looking to propose. We're interested in any feedback tonight initially, and then we will be having a chat with the public on September 7th and finalise the first draft to bring back to council. So with that, I'll take any questions.
So one of the questions that I had was, the people with 4 dogs right now, are you gonna grandfather them in, or are you gonna seize one of their dogs?
Well, I have had a couple of initial discussions about this, and it turns out there's quite a few people with 4 dogs. So, we did look at this number. A lot of the other municipalities, 3 seems to be the magic number. But I mean, we're interested in getting more feedback from the public on that. There is a loophole in the draft bylaw where discretion can be exercised. After an inspection, that would be subject to peace officer and the CAO approval there. I mean, people that currently have 4 dogs, we may be looking at a grandfather situation to be determined.
Okay, Deputy Mayor?
So in the proposed draft Schedule B, item 1 says agricultural animals is defined in 2C. And is that what you've got on page 37, the bovine, equine, sheep, swine, poultry, yaks, goats, cervids, like, we're not allowing any of those, right?
That's correct.
So the answer to your question, yes, that is the definition. And yes, those would be permitted with an agricultural permit, but not in a residential area, only agricultural or industrial. That's the current travel out there.
So we're gonna have someone with a chinchilla farm, potentially?
You can't slaughter them in town.
Well, that might have to change too, if somebody were to do that.
Well, that's what it says here.
So that was to open it up to potential economic development in the industrial area.
I guess we'll see what the feedback is. Thank you.
But some of these animals are very large too.
Bison,
Uh,
wild,
Yeah,
Wild boar should not be in there.
well, and ratites are
No.
ostriches.
That is, any animal of the swine family is not included. So this is the feedback I want to receive. I mean, these definitions for agricultural animals are from provincial statutes and acts. So if there are particular species that we don't want to see in town, we can put those on the list with the swine family. that they can't be in town.
I don't think any of them should be in, in town, especially if they're gonna slaughter them and get their pelts.
Even in industrial.
Even in the industrial, like foxes and chinchillas, like that, no.
Okay.
I don't agree with that.
We'll see what the public says.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying I don't.
But by not allowing that in industrial area, you would also not allow an abattoir then.
Which is probably a good thing.
Which is
Not
probably why we wouldn't allow an abattoir.
We do have it as a
Discretionary.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's the big one here is the agricultural animals, so, you know, limiting that down is council's thought here, so we could do, like horses or not even horses even.
Goats, maybe.
In town, no,
No, in the industrial area.
no.
Why? They're cute.
Well, if you don't, they're cute, no, if you don't mind a rooster, I guess, crowing, you wouldn't mind a goat then.
Well, it didn't really bother me. I was just wondering why people weren't complaining about it.
That's the first we've heard of, or that I'm aware of.
It was probably just a recording from your neighbors because you knew to get your goat.
No,
Now it's
Neighbor
gonna be a
doesn't.
goat.
Maybe it's your phone alarm.
no, it wasn't a phone alarm either. All right, is there any other things that you don't want on here?
So just to clarify, is it council's opinion that we just eliminate that before we take it to the public, or we take it to the public for feedback? And then, this is all coming back to council after.
They take it to the public for feedback.
Okay.
But like Haley said, we don't want the swine family in town.
But industrial yak milk is okay.
What?
Industrial yak milk.
Yes,
I was trying to imagine the difficulty of council deciding to put someone's dog down.
I know.
But it looks like there's kind of precedent for that in other municipalities, so regardless of what our bylaws say, like a decision like that would come back to council where we're.
Well, I think even in our community standards bylaw, our past ones, there was only 3 dogs, 4 with permission from the town. So I don't know how people got 4 dogs.
Actually, the current,
The current is 4.
Current is 4, that was changed by council several years back. But
For the one woman that had 4 Pomeranians.
But the 4th dog was a higher license fee at the time.
Yeah. Yes,
Any dogs that have been put down to this point have been under the Provincial Dangerous Dogs Act, not under our bylaw.
So it's makes the decision, like, was it a decision then?
It's a court order.
It's a court order, okay.
yeah, no,
So would it come to council then?
I think we would have to grandfather.
I think we would have to grandfather, because I'm not gonna be part of putting a family pet down.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the 4-dog rule, but I'm talking about council making decisions on, on this dangerous dogs, like if we have to sit here and all decide that, or is this coming from a higher order, generally when this has to happen?
I think the discussion was that we didn't have something like that in here before, and the proposal was to include it, but there is the provincial act that would take precedence.
Yeah, if I may, just for past history,
So
so.
the point here is, the way that it's currently written in our current bylaw, if it's deemed to be a dangerous dog, it can be euthanized, and it's basically done, decision made at peace officer level. So here we're looking to add in, a bit more, I guess a few more steps, and having the right to appeal within 7 days. If we don't receive an appeal from the owner, then it would proceed as planned, that they would have the option to appeal to council. And this is, we've seen this in a few other places. The court case that I provided in the briefing now kind of spells it out. what they're trying to do here. So in answer to the question, it could.
So we would hear the appeal, we wouldn't be making, we would hear the appeal to not have their pet euthanized under this provincial.
I think, maybe Rodney can just back me up.
Okay, let Rodney say his.
Oh, so I really don't see very many incidents, because I'm thinking at the point that a dog is declared dangerous, it's probably been involved in some sort of a violent incident, and which would involve the RCMP at that point, not necessarily by law. So it's attacked a child, it's attacked another human being, it's attacked another dog, and now you're in a realm that we're not policing.
So in the past, even though our bylaw was written, or currently written as that peace officer has that authority, any time that we've ever had to deal with a dog in a potential euthanization due to a dangerous dog, unless it's an urgent matter that is presenting a life safety issue, that the peace officer has the authority to make. And according to this court case, this is talking about non-urgent issues. An urgent issue, the dog's attacking somebody or it is posing a threat to our officers, they could take action under the current bylaw as it is written. But historically, our peace officers have never euthanized an animal without going to court first and saying this is the issue. So they've impounded the animal, they've held it, they've made the application to the provincial court saying this is a dangerous dog under the Dangerous Dogs Act. The bylaw it was literally mirroring the act, so we had that flexibility, but it's never been actioned.
We don't actually euthanize them, do we? Don't we get the vet to
Well, we
do
get
it?
the vet too. Yeah.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
But the town causes that to happen, right? So that's why I word it that way.
Mhm.
But even historically, in my service here with the town, managing that program, I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 times in the 20 years I've worked here that we've urgently put down an animal due to a life safety issue. We've never done it without a court order on a long-term one, as long as the peace officers have been managing that since 2008.
It more envisioned on the spot.
Yeah. Totally different. Way back. It's changed since.
Any others? All right. Do you have, Haley, what you need?
Yes, we'll go out to the public and get some more feedback and regroup, and we'll come back on the 12th of September.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
So Madam Mayor, council wish to table that to the 12th of September?
Table the,
Yeah.
she didn't-
It's a briefing, so except
she
for
was just
information.
briefing us, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So 12.2, a briefing note on the annexation of the airport land.
Yeah, so Madam Mayor, we've outlined in here some of the steps we've taken. Under at the August 3rd meeting, you received a fairly detailed outline of what annexation would take, what notifications are have to give, and the notice of the intent to annex and the parties that were involved. So we have now given notice to all affected parties and a number of parties we felt would have direct interest. On top of the list that's on page 46, we have also sent out a information piece and the same thing to all of the leaseholders at the airport. So they're not directly affected in that, other than the fact that they do business out there. The open house, just as noted, will be 1 to 5 in the council chamber next on September the 7th, and then we'll move over to the get to know you night from 6 to 8. We figure we'll probably see far more public there than we would do from 1 to 5. And I spoke with Byron Preters, the interim CAO with Mackenzie County, and they will have some staff and possibly some council as well, just to help us with the open house if any of their ratepayers have any questions.
Okay.
So it's
Here or at the arena?
Both.
Or in both, okay.
Yeah, it's proceeding apace. Ms. Gavin spoke with the Land and Property Rights Tribunal, and if we can submit our initial report by September the 9th, there's a very good chance that this could be completed by December 31st. If not, anything within the time frame between September the 9th and early January would, the annexation could be in place by the end of March in 2023. So we might have to make a deal at that time with the county on maintenance or whatever. Just to note, the county is already consulting us on any utility and other permits that they receive, so.
Yes,
Have we received the tax revenue from 2021 and 2022?
No, that wasn't included in the RSSA. But we will receive that. So in 2023, we anticipate that we'll receive it then.
any other questions? Thank you. Moving on to new business with the declaration of National Indigenous Days. National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. So this is a proclamation whereas all Canadians and all orders of government have a role to play in reconciliation, and whereas the town of High Level remains committed to acknowledging the tragic and painful history and legacy of residential schools, and whereas the town of High Level recognizes the interconnectedness of the past, present, and future as foundational to the success, health, and sustainability of our town and region, and support creating and encouraging awareness in order to build a safer and more inclusive environment for generations of children to come. And whereas the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation is an opportunity for all Canadians to reflect, learn, grieve, and take collective actions towards reconciliation. Therefore, it be resolved that the town of High Level does hereby commit to acknowledging September 30th as a National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, and encourages all members of the community to educate themselves about the stories of residential school survivors, their families, and their communities. Dated this 29th day. Yes.
Did we not recognize and make this declaration last year? We made it a civic holiday, and I thought we'd made that an annual going forward.
We were asked to do it again.
Okay, but there's one thing for the declaration, but we've already set this as an annual.
Well, it's a national holiday, so the town can't set it.
Last year what happened is the federal government did not make it a statutory holiday. So everybody had to declare that on their own. So that was one of the things the town council did last year. So we declared it a statutory holiday for staff.
Okay.
So now it's entrenched as a statutory holiday. So the legislation's now in place.
Okay.
Yeah. However, that if council wanted to make this a standing declaration, that's something we could just have the mayor sign off every year.
I would move that.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. All right, 13.2, the wastewater service agreement with the Denne'ythaw First Nation.
Madam Mayor, now that the friendship agreement has been signed, we're moving on to the other joint agreements with the Denne'ythaw First Nation. So in here, you can see there's still notes we have for the lawyers to hash out on a few little areas within this agreement. But we have no motion to enter into an agreement with the nation for supply of water and collection of sewer. So we would like.
So could I have someone move that?
I'll move for alternative one.
Councillor Lambert, all in favor? Carried. I think we should get rid of the lawyers. Because it always seems to be them that are holding us up on everything. Oh, sorry, Deputy Mayor.
This agreement has nothing to do with me.
Just for council's information, we're also in the process of reviewing, we currently do not have a fire agreement with the Denne'ythaw First Nation, so we're just bringing that up we're modernizing that as well. So I've spoken with the administration of the nation, and they're willing to sign off both documents once everything's good.
Okay, there's nothing here for the fire agreement.
No, the fire we discussed that late last week, but that's an ongoing one, so it's just a renewal, once we get that cleaned up. Some of the language in it's a little dated.
Okay, so the strategic plan, project budget increase.
Madam Mayor, I'm going to turn the next two items, 13.3 and 13.4, over to Director Gavin.
Hello again.
Hello?
Hello, so this is for the implementation plan for the strategic plan. So if you remember back in June, I believe it was, I had the draft strategic plan, and I also showed you a little glimpse of our big Excel sheet, which is essentially our big draft implementation plan, made up of all the action items that we worked on together, that we wrote up on the piece of paper all around council chamber, and those essentially are the action items we would complete in order to achieve our goals. So what we're looking at here is having some additional facilitated sessions with CMR Consulting, who worked with us on our strategic plan, and having them come back up for another couple of days in October to work on finalising that plan, levels of service and key performance indicators as well, to ensure success of the strategic plan over the next 4 years, making sure it's practical and measurable. We're going to set up the rating models as well with administration, so essentially putting timelines and which departments are responsible for each action item, and that will feed into reporting back to council. So I did get a little quote from CMR the other day, so my request here is to add an additional 10,000 to the budget in order for these sessions to occur next month.
So, won't 10,000 bring in the budget or to the total of 61,727 instead of 70,000?
No, the budget we had was 60,000 and we spent 61,727. So if we have another 10, then the budget will be 70.
Well, by my math, it will be 71. Because if we've already spent 61,727, if we add 10,000, that brings it to 71,000.
You know, the budget.
Okay, I bet 10,000 on top of the 60.
Oh, okay.
I don't have the last invoice from them yet, but my understanding is all three of them should be the same. So if the last invoice that is impending is the same as the others, it brings it to 61,727.
Okay. Does somebody want to make a motion?
I'm not here to, but I can make the motion.
You don't have to be here to make the
No,
motion.
I know.
So I guess that brings me to the question, was this a date picked by administration or CMR? Because did council have a choice in it? Because the deputy mayor's not going to be here and I'm not going to be here.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we can revise the date. It was just looking at timelines for, you know, making sure we got this all kind of wrapped up for the organisational meetings and stuff in October before budget. So, and then of course CMR's availability, they've been spending a lot of time up at the Blueberry First Nation in BC, and they are committed there until the end of September. So I propose these dates to the CAO and to CMR. It seems to work, but if we have an issue with council members, then we'll have to change it.
Well, I voiced my objection because I wasn't going to be here. I mean, yeah, like I think it's important that council be here.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's not gonna work. So I think it would have been a good idea to talk to council to see which worked for them.
do we have a date in mind or date options in mind?
Well, let's get through this one, we'll go to the date next, sorry. So, does someone want to, Deputy Mayor will make the motion for the $10,000 increase. All in favor? Carried. So the next is the request for council to attend the workshop in October. I can't get out of it. I'm having dental surgery, bone implants, and
Madam Mayor, if you want, we could put out a doodle poll and see what's convenient, and then Haley can get back to CMR and see if we can work something out.
like the next week or the week prior even, or probably better. I don't know about the rest of council, but yes.
Just the week prior is Thanksgiving, so I don't think that weekend will be good for anybody.
Oh, yeah, right. The week prior isn't Thanksgiving.
The weekend prior.
Well, it was falling right after Thanksgiving anyways. The 11th,
After the long weekend.
yeah,
Isn't it the 13th and 14th?
yeah,
Yeah, the 13th and 14th, isn't it? It's on the weekend.
no.
Or sorry, Thursday, Friday.
Thursday, Friday, and Thanksgiving's the, what, 10th?
Sorry, I thought it was on the weekend.
So I don't know, council, do you want to have a doodle poll to see when we're available? Or do you gonna throw out some dates right now so that when are you gonna be available, Deputy Mayor?
Just Thursday's never a good day for me. I think likely the date has to come back from CMR. Just looking at my calendar, I could do the 18th, which is the following Tuesday. 18th or 19th.
What about you, Jan?
Whatever the date is, I have to probably plan that for when I have work flown up, somebody flown up.
So how will we know when you have?
Well, that's why, I was going to make the 13th work. But I think I'll just absolutely try and make whatever date it is work. Cause it's just, I haven't picked my, relief for October yet, so.
What about you, Josh?
I can make the day work either as well.
Brent?
I'm fine with any date, like 18th, 19th. I'm fine with that.
Terry, are you here in October?
Yeah, I am here. October would work better for me. The end of September gets quite busy for me.
So would a Tuesday like the 18th work for you? So could we use that date, Haley?
I can propose it to CMR and I'll try and get an answer back pretty fast here.
Okay, remind them they work for us. Yes.
Could we also check maybe with them to see if a week prior would work? Like the 5th or the 6th, or sorry, I know Thursdays don't work, but maybe the 4th or the 5th. I just realized the 18th I'll be trying.
Could you check with the 4th and the 5th, see if they work as well?
Of October.
Yes. Does that work for you?
I could do the 4th, not the 5th.
Deputy Mayor can do the 4th, but not the 5th.
This is our deal.
The 4th October and the 18th are the 2 days.
Or we do it on a Saturday.
We don't all have to be there, right? Like if I miss this, I miss this. That's
Yeah, but
fine.
it's our strategic
I
plan.
understand that, but the consultant has schedules as well. As long as the majority of council is there, right?
Okay. So those are the dates.
Saturdays are also a possibility, if anybody wants a weekend.
Josh hates Saturday, because he works.
It's one of them. Do you work every Saturday? Almost. I work every Saturday too, but I can probably swing.
All right, so that is, council, what do you want here? How are we gonna do this now?
Just, you can table this till the 12th.
Okay, table can someone make that motion, please? Councillor Welke, all in favor? Carried. Thank you, Haley. 13.5 is a tourist enhancement.
Madam Mayor, Director Rolfe will take the next two items.
So we had a tourism enhancement grant application from minor hockey, and they had done this last year as well, having the Northwest Junior Hockey League come up and have exhibition games and run minor hockey camps and on and off ice, and it was very, very successful. So they requested the $5,000. And also too, would want to mention that we have the Crete Lumber Barons joining the league this year. So this would be their first exhibition game that they'd be hosting as well. So I suggest that we provide the $5,000 tourism enhancement grant to help with the ice expenses.
Can someone make that motion?
I'll move for alternative one.
Councillor Lambert, all in favor? Carried. The next one is also tourist enhancement.
The next one is the, looking at
Oh, it's not
grants
tourist.
for the CFIP funding. So this funding is, the municipality is not actually eligible to apply for it, but non-for-profit groups can apply for it. There's a small and a large stream. Ideally, it'd be nice to apply for the large stream because that's up to $1 million with match funds. However, there's only one intake per year, which is in June, and then you don't find out until the following December. So we actually missed that one. I would have had to apply for that one like quite a while ago. So I have approached several of the non-for-profits in high level that we work fairly closely with, and that have been stakeholders with Community Park as we've been looking at putting in our development there. And so what would actually happen is these three groups would apply individually for the CFIP grant. I would assist them with the grant application. And basically what I did is took different areas of the cost estimate, the proposal to kind of make this work. So there are items that fits within what that group would normally do. So for minor ball, it's finishing the ball diamond, so putting up the fence and the dugouts and that sort of thing. For the High Level Play Association, for the natural playgrounds and pavilion. And then High Level Old Timers run the disc golf. And so they look at covering the cost of the washrooms and the gravel for the parking lot. So these applications are due September 15th, and if we're approved, we'll find out in January, so it would be like next year's funding. And currently, we've been looking at our capital plan, allocating about $400,000 each year for the next 5 years to try and finish the park. So this is an opportunity with grant funding. So with each of these grants, it would be $125,000. If we were successful, it would come from CFIP.
So we would front the cost of $400,000 and we'd get $400,000 basically. Well, a little more.
In a nutshell,
Yeah.
the council would be putting in a bit more because I had to make the projects work within so they made sense. Like minor balls, you're not going to finish one diamond and half the dugout, so I kind of put it in. So the cost made sense. So I'm currently just working on getting individual quotes and budgets for each one.
So how much did we commit? 400,000 a year?
That was
For the
mine.
next how many years?
Well,
4
so-
years?
Yeah.
Okay. Deputy Mayor?
So would this prohibit us from applying in June for the large grant, or it's an annual?
No, it wouldn't, because it would have to be like another one of these groups applying for it. So with the small group, with the small stream funding, that's the only one where different groups can apply for the same project under different aspects of it. The large funding, only one group can apply for the entire thing. So we would still be eligible, so another group, I'd have to come up with what that might be.
And that would be, so this would be for 2023, and if you apply and not here till September, it'd be 2024.
Then you're
So,
eligible
yeah,
for the
it'd be the
mulligan.
subsequent year,
Yeah.
so,
So we
yeah.
can apply for the following year for the large fund. It's not actually us applying, it's the groups that are applying who we're assisting. And there's items like if, for instance, like I know the old timers, they'll help put in all the new baskets for the disc golf. So any labor that you put in, you can take as match funds if you have any equipment, that kind of thing. So there's other things like that that can help offset for the match funds as well.
It's a good idea to use community groups.
Well, I think it gets them involved as well.
Well, and it
So
takes away the pain of the municipality having to put in all the money. Any discussion? Could we have a motion?
I'll make the motion for alternative number 1.
All in favor? Carried.
It's good extra money.
We'll have to pay that sooner, but. So that ends our public portion. We are now going to move into a closed session. So I'd like to thank everybody for attending this evening and have a good rest of your week. I thought Terry was.